Hi, this is Juliet Giglio, and the thing that I loved most about Funmi was he was incredibly helpful, and he was also really funny. Whenever he was around, I always knew we'd be laughing. Whether we were like washing those little tiny communion cups, hundreds of them in the basement, or if we were giving a tour at the Arts and Crafts Festival. And I remember Funmi telling everybody, all the visitors, that our church was over 250 years old, and people were like, wow. And we laughed a lot about that, how it was really only 100 years old. Funmi, I'm going to miss you so much. You made such a difference in my life, and I'll see you someday.
Funmi, you will be missed, but you're forever in our memories. You and I bonded over smoke and fire as we made, I think it was 40 hamburgers at our church picnic. Gonna miss you tremendously, especially when I have to make 40 hamburgers again. Love you. See you on the other side.
I think what's going to stick with me the most about Funmi is how genuine and open and funny he was. You know, you couldn't spend an afternoon or an evening with him without spending most of the time cracking up. But, you know, it didn't even have to be a joke. You know, you guys could be playing a board game or something together, and maybe he thinks somebody's not quite following the rules. So out that rule book would come every turn of the page as he's searching for the proof that somebody did something not quite right. Every page turn would be done with, you know, an exaggerated flourish and a huff or whatever. He would make something as mundane as that. He would make that funny. And you can't spend time around people like that and not have a good time. And, you know, but it wasn't all just jokes. Because he was so open and honest, I always knew I could come to him, you know, with a problem, if I needed to, you know, just have somebody to talk to, hear me out. You know, he was always there for that. Anytime I needed it, there with advice, just somebody there to listen. You know, he was always there, you know, for other things too. You know, you need that awful 4 a.m. trip to the airport. He was there even when it wasn't easy for him. You know, I always appreciated these things about him, and yeah, I'm really gonna miss him. I miss you, buddy. I don't know what else to say, but rest well. I'll see you again sometime.
It's very sad to hear the loss of Funmi. I didn't get to know him as much as others did, but in the time that I did get to know him, he was a real nice person. He was always cheery, not an ounce of negativity in that gentleman, and just a nice, fun-loving person to be around. Probably one of my best moments I had with Funmi was that I'd gone snowshoeing on a hiking trip with Emily, and Funmi, being the snow expert that he was, basically saved me from falling into a frozen lake that I was not paying attention to because I was too busy filming my feet, and he cautiously said to me that I needed to watch where I was going, otherwise I was going to end up in the frozen lake. So I always thought about that, and it always made me laugh that he saved my life basically for that. But Funmi, you'll be missed. I wish I'd gotten to know you, more and more, but in the time that I did get to know you, I really enjoyed, hanging out with you, and you're really good company, and you will definitely be missed for sure. And I hope you rest well, and I hope to see you, in the future one day. So, okay, bye now.
Hi everyone, my name is Keen, and this is my wife Sandra.
Hi everyone.
We were very sad to hear about Funmi's passing. Our hearts are with his family and friends. I first met Funmi at SUNY ESF about 10 years ago while playing board games with many of our friends. It's hard for us to imagine a world without Funmi's laughter, his love, and his friendship. I have so many good memories with Funmi. Some of my favorites happened while playing board games with him. I really like to play a game called Epic Spell Wars with Funmi because his quick thinking and humor would shine. Whenever I played a game with Funmi, I knew I was in for a ride. Funmi was smart and competitive. He played to win, but that didn't stop him from being one of the most fun and entertaining people I've ever had the privilege of playing board games with. All of his best traits came out at the game table, from his extreme attention to detail, to his light-hearted chatting, to his captivating and persuasive arguments, even when he knew he might be pushing the rules a little too far. Funmi lived by his own rules. He danced to his own music, but it was a tune that invited other people to dance along with him. Funmi was a welcoming, accepting, and loving person. He was a joy to be around. I will miss him dearly, and I feel grateful for the time I got to spend with him.
We have a lot of great memories with Funmi, from spending time together, eating dinner, watching movies, watching Star Trek together, but our most precious memories with Funmi are with him and our child Miles.
I remember how excited Funmi was for Miles to be born and how he made it to all of Miles's birthday parties, all the 2 birthday parties Miles has had so far.
And one funny thing that we used to always joke about was how excited Funmi was to hold Miles and to see Miles, but at first Miles was not so excited about being held by Funmi, and it took him a little while to warm up, and it was always a little funny how disappointed Funmi would be when Miles didn't want to be held, and it was so sweet to see how excited Funmi was when Miles finally warmed up and they finally both started to learn to embrace each other, and that was a really precious thing to see.
My deepest condolences to Funmi's family. My name is John Kale, and Funmi was a close friend of mine. I first really spent time with Funmi at a Renaissance fair with some ESF friends back in 2012. It was a day full of joy and riotous laughter. We spent the time with Funmi's broad smile and perfectly timed jokes. He loved interacting with the costume performers, trying to get them to laugh and break character. His lightheartedness and laughter were infectious, his charisma magnetic. I realized right then that this was the funniest person I had ever met. We immediately became friends. As our friendship developed over the next several years, I came to understand other wonderful qualities of Funmi. He was thoughtful. He was thoughtful and unwaveringly selfless, always willing to help a friend no matter the inconvenience. He was fiercely clever and intelligent, effortlessly grasping the intricacies of a new board game or scientific problem in order to pull off a win or devise a solution. He had a beautiful passion for music. Seeing him dancing away while Michael Jackson played in our living room was the highlight of countless parties. Funmi was an inspiration to us all. How we should live our lives, interact with others, love each other, and just simply be human. He was the best of us. Funmi, I love you, and will miss you deeply and always. I hope to see you again someday. I consider myself fortunate to have been counted among your friends, and I mourn for those that will never know you. Rest in peace, buddy.
friends for their loss. The first time I remember hearing about Funmi was in my first semester of grad school back in early 2012. My advisor, Melissa Furkey, had told me that we had money to hire a student for the summer. She kind of tried to make it sound like the decision was up to me, but it wasn't. She was pretty resolute in that Funmi was the person that I had to hire. And at first I was like, who the heck is this guy? But everybody else in the lab couldn't stop talking about him either and singing his praises. They kept talking about how he was super intelligent, really clever, a really hard worker, but above everything else they talked about his character and just how bright and fun and funny he was. As soon as I met him, I instantly understood. Funmi was honestly one of the best people I've ever known. Not only was he just absolutely hilarious, but he would bend over backwards to do anything for a friend. That summer that we worked together, we became fast friends. The highlight of my days was going to talk to him as he sorted wasps under the microscope while rocking out to Rihanna. He quickly became an integral part of our friend circle. I will always cherish the countless evenings we spent hanging out in my living room, playing games, listening to music. The way he brought so much life into every room he stepped into. How our friendship grew and evolved even after I moved away from Syracuse. I wish I had all the time in the world to talk about all the great memories I have with him, but I don't. So what I do want to say is that Funmi was a true, genuine human who lived his life full of joy. I am a better person for having him as a friend, and I hope to live my life guided by the principles with which he lived his. I know I'm going to be able to hear his laughter ringing in my ears for years to come. I'll miss you, buddy.
Funmi was my brother-in-law. I look at him as my little brother. I used to tease him quite a bit, and growing up, I would be that big sister wannabe. Let's put it that way. That would always chase Funmi around and try to get him to do whatever I wanted. Funmi now is my brother-in-law, and he has made so much positive impact in my life. When Funmi walks into the room or into a room, he brights up the entire room. His personality is just so calm and pleasant. He's a joy to be around. He means a whole lot to me. He means a whole lot to his nephews and his niece. We all love him, and there isn't anything not to love about Funmi. Every Thanksgiving we have shared together. Funmi had been my right-hand man. He does everything that his brothers would not want to do. So Black Friday, I would pretty much beg or drag Funmi, like, hey, let's go shopping, and he would go with me. Sometimes he probably wasn't happy to go, but he was like, all right sis, I'll go with you. He was just a beautiful soul. I have had too many wonderful memories with Funmi, and our last holiday together, he said he wanted to go to Galveston Beach, and he just wanted to spend some time out by the ocean. And looking back now, that was probably the last holiday. But we cherished every moment, every bit of time we had with him. And, we will remember him forever. We'll remember him, and we will try our best to keep his memory alive. I love you, Funmi. It's not goodbye, it's see you later. And I know you're in a better place.